It was an article that had interviewed an adult male named Carl Anundsen, and he was 10 years old when this event happened, but he was like 60 when they were interviewing him. It was like the 50th anniversary. And he was with his 2-year-old sister and his mother. And I'll try to tell it like he would have told the story. Oh, it was 1871, and we got off the train in St. Cloud, Minnesota. My dad had come over here, and my father, he'd been here 2 years earlier than us. And he had raised some money, and then he sent money for us. And he had no idea that we were going to show up. So what he did was he sent money, gave us directions on where he was, and we had to come find him. And so we got off at St. Cloud because the train doesn't go any further. And we had a 10-day walk ahead of us. Oh, it was terrible. We were so scared. Mom was crying, and even though I was 10 years old, I hate to admit it, but I was crying too. And my sister, she cried because we were crying. And this nice Swedish man came up to us, and he spoke to us, and we could kind of understand him. And he said that he was here to pick up his sister, and he would take us to the edge of St. Cloud, and we could camp overnight. So he took us out there, and we camped overnight. And he said, I can teach you how to get by. He goes, it's going to be a long walk for you. But he goes, I'm going to teach you 2 words of English. Anytime you get to a farm, he says, and you need something to eat, tell them, I'm hungry. So he said, he made my mother say that, I'm hungry. He made my sister say it, I'm hungry. He made me say it, I'm hungry. And so that morning we thanked him and we headed off. It was about mid-afternoon, and we got to this farmstead, and they were out there. It was kind of a sod house, and we walked up, and sure enough, we said, I'm hungry, and they fed us. Oh, this America was so great. What a lovely land. And that night they let us stay at their farm, and we slept in their barn, and it was very nice. Well, the next morning, so we're on day 2, we're walking, and we got to a place, and we told them I'm hungry, and they gave us an ear of corn, and well, we'd never had corn before, but we ate it, and then we ended up walking, and that night we had to sleep outside. Now, it was October, and we didn't have blankets or anything. The only thing I had, really, other than the clothes on my back, is I had a stone that I'd taken from home, back from the farm. So I had a piece of Norway with me. But the next morning we woke up with blankets of frost on us. It was cold, but not as cold as Norway, so we were okay. And then we got there, we walked a couple more days, and people fed us, and then we got to this one farm, and this guy, he comes running out, and he had a gun, and he shot it in the air, bang! And he was yelling at some foreign language, and pointing his gun for us to leave. We didn't need to understand his language to know what he wanted. We left. I'm pretty sure he was German. I report it like I hear it. So he ended up, we went a couple more days, and we came upon this man, and he was Swedish. And he was yelling, we thought, oh no, not another crazy man, this is going to be terrible. And the man was holding a rusty horse pliers, and he was swinging it in the air, and we were kind of going to back away from him. And my sister was hooked onto Mom's skirt, kind of hiding behind him. And then my mom realized he was pointing to his mouth. He had a bad tooth. So he sat down in a chair, and Mom tried pulling this tooth out. But she was only 5 foot tall, and she couldn't get any leverage, so she had him lay on the ground. And so she had him lay on the ground, and she kind of straddled over him, and she was pulling. And every time she pulled, the man would yell. So she'd pull, ah, pull, ah, pull, ah. Finally, she says, Carl, grab around my waist, and when I tell you to pull, then you pull. So the 2 of us, she was on there trying to pull the tooth. I had my arms around her waist, and she goes, pull, and we pulled, and he goes, ah, pull, ah. Nothing. So they had my sister grab around my waist. So the 3 of us, we're pulling, ah, pulling, ah. Finally, the tooth gave way, and we all ended up on our hinders. And the man passed out, so he quit yelling. Well, then the man woke up, and he was really angry, and he started yelling and pointing to his mouth, and he opened up his mouth, and Mom looked in there, and here she pulled the wrong tooth. Oh, he was mad. So then we had to do it again. This time we started out, all 3 of us, and we pulled, and he yelled, and we pulled, and finally the tooth gave way. Oh, the man took the first tooth, which was laying in the mud. He grabbed it, spit on it, wiped it on his shirt, and put it back right in his mouth. Yep. And he made us a nice soup that night. Yeah, and I never saw that tooth fall out. So we ended up walking a few more days. People were helping us, people feeding us. You know, sometimes we got turned away. And then we came upon this Indian man and woman. Oh, what a noble looking couple. Very nice. And they came up on horseback and they went like this. And my mom says, she thought he was asking us for food. And he did it again. And, no food, no. And finally, the guy grabbed his bow out. And then he put an arrow in it. And he aimed it. Now remember, Mom's short. She's only 5 foot tall. And he shot that arrow and it shot right over her shoulder and it hit a rabbit behind her. And the woman got off her horse and she ran over and grabbed the rabbit and she skinned it and they started up a fire and they fed us. It was quite a meal. Well, that was by Battle Lake, Minnesota. So we had about another day and a half walk and we finally got to Fergus Falls and we were there and we got to the general store and we told the man that we were looking for Anand Anandson, my father. And he says, oh, I know Anand. And they said, oh, as a matter of fact, Ole Balstead is right here. He's your neighbor. He's loading up his wagon right now. So he came out and he introduced us to us and Ole said, oh, your dad is going to be so excited to see you. So we finished, we helped him load the wagon. We rode the wagon with him and he brought us there. And my sister, who was just a baby when Dad was born, she looked and she said, is that my father? And Mom said, yup. And so we all walked over to him and he looked at us and he gave a huge head nod. You know, I know he meant a lot by that because they say like a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, a head nod from a Norwegian man, that's probably 10,000 words.